Researchers have just identified a previously unknown lineage of sapiens, our species from the high plains of Colombia that died out between 6,000 and 2,000 years ago. I'll get to why this is unique, but first off, just a quick review of our understanding of the peopling of the Americas. Genetic studies suggest that at some point beyond 20,000 years ago, a branch diverged from another group in Beringia and ended up moving into the Americas. By around 16,000 years ago, that population would diverge into two distinct lineages, one that is the North American lineage, the other would go on to be the South American lineage. Our overall understanding of this migration based on DNA, we don't know as much as we could just because the DNA research, it's lagging. So that's why new discoveries like this one, they're really interesting. So this comes from a population that was living around 6,000 years ago. There were other genomes included in this study, which I'll talk about because they play a role in this entire story, but it's worth noting that these are the first ever ancient genomes published from Colombia. There were 21 total. Of those 21 genomes, 7 of them come from the Chekwa site. Now, that is important because those 7 genomes, they are a completely new lineage that had never been identified. And the evidence actually suggested that they diverged from the other groups right around the time of the first dispersals into South America, suggesting that this group had been adapting to this life up in this region for thousands of years, and then by around 2,000 years ago, there is no evidence of them in any of these samples. They are just gone. They are missing. So they're this brief little blip and then vanished. They looked to see if there was any evidence of admixture with this population kind of interbreeding with other populations that moved into the area and the genetic traces continuing that way, but they couldn't find any evidence of that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they were completely replaced through war or anything, and that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. It's entirely possible that they just went locally extinct on their own, and later on, other populations moved into that area. This is one of those things with, as we are starting to learn about history through the lens of genetics, it's important to remember that we are only seeing these little blips. So as we get more and more genetic evidence, we are going to get a more and more clear picture over time. But right now, I just think it's really cool to learn about history through this genetic lens.